So I'll introduce Akam. Akam's one of my favorite SAP speakers and employees. As you can see, his extensive bio, he started in the German Air Force. He's led several positions for maintenance and aircraft and also engineering, and he joined SAP in 2002. And as you can see here, he's the LOB Solutions for Operation Excellence. So take it away, Akam.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff, for the nice introduction. And so, yeah, it's a double feature today. So Stefan Bumplin, who is the Chief Product Owner for EAM, put a focus this morning on the ERP innovations and explicitly what we've done in the area of user experience. And I think this is really important because whatever we do in terms of analytics, whatever we do in terms of any in-memory application and so on and so forth, at the end of the day, I mean, there is, out of data, there should be information, and out of information, there should be decisive knowledge that is being presented to the user in a way that it's really digestible. So I would like to put that into a bit of a wider context today. So as Jeff already alluded to, there are a lot of more deep dive type of sessions, so whether it's augmented reality or content and asset information management. So this is a little bit of a summary presentation here of what the recent innovations are and also what our kind of statement of direction is. So since it's a bit of a forward-looking thing, of course, there is a disclaimer, as always with SAP, so plans that reach out into the future might be subject to change. But explicitly, we want to share our plans with you, and we are always eager to get feedback on our plans, because at the end of the day, of course, we want to support the business and asset management for our customers, and so we need to know also what you are heading for. When we talk about, and Jeff mentioned that I was part of the German Air Force and busy with aircraft maintenance, and also in civilian airspace or aerospace operations. I mean, those are very kind of expensive assets, right? And so for very expensive and maybe also risky assets, there was always a need to get a lot of information about these in order to prevent from any failure. I think the difference today is that a lot of the assets are being more transparent to the operators because just the respective technology is getting cheaper and cheaper. And that, of course, also allows for quite new business models. And so when we have a look on the life cycle of an asset, it always starts with the question, you know, what is the asset portfolio that I need? What kind of asset do I want to acquire? And then, of course, making sure that the right information makes its way into the operator system. Then operating the asset, but also maintaining them with the respective maintenance strategy, and maybe at the end of the asset life cycle, then making sure the asset is being decommissioned properly. What we see today is that this asset life cycle is more and more overlapping with the product life cycle, because there are more and more hybrid models on how you can maintain an asset. So when you traditionally might have acquired an asset and then you thought about a maintenance strategy and made maintenance execution happen, then today maybe you think about quite a different model. Either you outsource the maintenance to somebody, and still you have to make sure, because you are liable, you want to optimize your business, that there are the right KPIs in place and that the service provider not only optimizes his own business, but also can even be that the OEM is involved in that, maybe via a dealer. So at the end of the day, it's a whole ecosystem that makes asset management happen. So it's not just, you know, don't treat it as a castle where you operate your assets. It's working in a big ecosystem. And that, of course, imposes quite a different need for sharing information and collaboration. I think that is what is really different. Because, as said years ago, maybe aircraft were transmitting information so that the right skilled technician was already on the ground when the aircraft arrived in order to change any kind of line replaceable item. Today, I mean, it started with cars being connected so that they transmitted information in order to improve on the engineering, in order to maybe get you a service appointment. And today, coffee machines have built-in capabilities to go on the web. So what we can see is that the world of assets is getting smarter and smarter and smarter. So that does mean that on the one side, machines can talk to other machines, and they can establish some loops of self-regulation. But also, these assets today can provide information directly to the business systems. So it's no longer in any proprietary networks. It's really that they are able to go on the internet and send information directly to people, to business systems, to whatever. So what is being constituted here is what you can call a cyber-physical system. And all this is obviously possible because those assets can be connected via one protocol, meaning the Internet protocol, to the web. In fact, today people even start talking about not only the Internet of Things, but the Internet of Everything, because it includes not only machines, it includes the business, it includes people. In Germany, we have that term Industrie 4.0 because the assumption is that we are living in a fourth industrial revolution because the degree of connectedness has never been reached before, and it's really a new era in which we are living. But of course, all these oceans of data that are being created, I mean, call it big data, all this finally doesn't mean anything unless you can ensure that the information that is being transmitted is first of all correct, and secondly, of course, can be digested. And that means that user experience is key. And so what Stefan presented in the morning is key to us as well, because on the one side, we want to analyze the data, we want to predict failure, we want to predict the future state of the asset, we want to combine information from the operational technologies and from business IT in order to derive the right conclusion. But we have to make sure that this information makes its way to the user, to the decision maker, to the technician, to the people that need that information in a digestible format. And not only in a digestible format, but also on site. So wherever it's needed, this needs to be also done accessible on a mobile device and being shared within this ecosystem of people or companies that are responsible for getting or for keeping the assets up and running. We've pretty much reflected this in our portfolio for asset management, and it's always about debating what is EAM as a term. I think the best definition is EAM is a set of solutions that support asset management. So the idea really in the sense also of ISO 55000 here is that it really supports the complete asset lifecycle, starting with the asset portfolio, then getting the right information into the systems, making sure that there is transparency about how the asset is behaving, and then of course making maintenance execution happen, including the services to be procured and the spare parts that are needed. And also in the sense of Part 55 or ISO 55000 nowadays, really making it a complete picture about managing cost, risk, and performance. So the EHS or operational risk management is an integral part when we talk about asset management here. In this presentation today, I would like to focus on the asset information management, the asset visibility and performance, and the maintenance execution part. There are obviously other possibilities to explore further information on the other two areas that I just grayed out here, but also in the interest of time, today it's about these three areas here. So when we talk about the overall roadmap, in terms of the recent innovations and coming back to what Stefan presented, it was a lot about simplification of the user interface, about integrating 3D visuals into that user interface, but also about making it a more complete picture on how to bring the risk-based view and environment, health, and safety into the operations and maintenance space. We enhanced our partnership with Meridium. I have another slide on that later on. And we also brought those capabilities about visualization on the mobile devices as well. And we have set up a new approach on handling asset master data using our master data governance component. On the planned innovation side, still, user experience is key. whatever we can get you in terms of high-speed in-memory analytics, it does not mean a lot unless the information can be presented in a digestible format at the right time on-site to the user. So it involves additional functionality for mobile as well. But we have also come up with really new capabilities around how to leverage in-memory analytics and a real-time data platform for predictive maintenance and service. So we include this as well. And then the next point, when talking about this ecosystem of a lot of parties being contributing to asset management, then it's about what could we do leveraging cloud-based applications, for example, for product sustainability and compliance, but also for predictive maintenance and service as well. Still, we are doing a lot of enhancement to the existing applications, and I think you're pretty much involved on the customer connection here. So really adding further functionality in terms of continuous improvement to the existing stack. On the side of future direction, again, it's about user experience. I think that is maybe the topic of highest importance that we currently have explicitly when we talk about users that don't sit 8 hours in front of an SAP screen, but that should better maximize their branch time as compared to operating an IT system. So it also has a lot to do to give them more possibilities to work hands-free, to work with mobile devices on site, and get them the information that they really need. And that may also involve then that out of what we are doing in terms of additional analytics and real-time data being brought and combined with the business IT, that we bring that information as well on the mobile device. And idea is to really have this consolidated view on cost, risk, and performance available wherever it's needed. So obviously I cannot cover everything in this 1 hour. So please allow for one slide where you can find more information. And there are 3 sources of information that I would like to mention here. First of all, the Solution Explorer, where we have on the public web all the value maps, all the end-to-end processes, all the solution capabilities in a hierarchical view, and you can browse either by industry or by area of responsibility. And so you can see what our SAP taxonomy is all about, and we are working according to that same taxonomy when we talk about adding further functionality to the respective end-to-end processes. The other piece is on the service marketplace, so you need an S user for this, and that is a shortcut Find Innovation. And just to show you this, we have there a couple of tools explicitly when it comes to products today. So a tool called Innovation Discovery, I will show in a second, but also a consolidated view on the additional functionality that has been delivered via support nodes or support packages or in the respective functional areas. On the side of the Innovation Discovery, you can go for respective areas of responsibility. So for example, for asset management, you can drill down to the solution areas, and then you will get a comprehensive overview on the recent innovations that have been delivered. And you will also discover that in this case, out of 56 in year, 37 do not even require additional licenses. So still, we are delivering a lot for our installed base without the need to purchase additional license items. And then you drill down to the next level. You can go by the respective application. You can go by delivery channel. And for example, if you now click on user experience here, you will come to the point what Stefan presented in the morning about the respective innovations that we added to the user interface. And maybe this is now timing out because the window was just open too long. Howsoever, on the side of the roadmaps, on the via the same link, Find Innovation, if you scroll down a bit, you can go to the respective roadmaps, either by industry or by line of business. And as you can see, the asset management one was updated in Q4 last year. So an update is due end of this year. So we are just working on a refurbished presentation for asset management here as well that will be published soon. So going back to the presentation, I've structured it the way that I would like to cover user experience, but more from a what is our strategy point of view here. We'll go into mobile, then have a bit about customer connection, maintenance operations, talking about MRS, and then a couple of innovative topics like the asset data governance, which we currently have amended quite a lot of functionality. A very forward-looking topic, which is the asset information network, and then talking about some quite recent innovation in the area of maintenance strategies with our partner Meridium, and then in the area of predictive maintenance and service. So when we talk about user experience, this is based on 3 pillars. So of course, when we talk about new applications here, we want to go for the latest and greatest user interface that we can imagine. But of course, what we have to see is we have hundreds of thousands of transaction screens already out there, and there is a certain speed of innovation that our customers can digest. And so what we have to see is that we also have to offer options for our installed base, either to refresh the user experience where needed, or to also enable in areas where we don't do improvements, but maybe a customer feels the need to do something on their own, and really then enable the users to access the SAP system in a better sense. So this is very much about efficiency as well, and how to use tools to enable for a better user experience. So in the area of Renew, we did a lot for renovating the user experience, and this started already 2010 with Enhancement Pack 5 and introducing the WebDyn Pro based on the NetWeaver Business Client. But of course, we also are now launching further Fiori applications that may be kind of an entry point for the then more complex transactions that may be accessed in a second step. And just to mention this, I mean, everybody is talking Fiori today, but of course Fiori also has a certain target audience. This is not for the real complex applications. This is to provide users with an easy to access interface where they can have on one view really the most important things, and then this may then go into a more complex transaction if you really want to work on respective items. So we have to see this in context, and our main focus in the past few years was really to make the NetWeaver Business Client, the WebDyn Pro based applications complete, because we see more and more adoption also by large installed base customers here. So focus was on the renovation topic, but we are now also heading to add further Fiori applications so that this can be a combined exercise done. And then on the enablement tools, of course, this is also for customers who don't want to upgrade, who don't want to adopt the NetWeaver Business Client, because, I mean, we cannot enforce this, right? So we have to think about the installed base that want to stay on a certain release as well. So when you have a look on new applications by SAP, and this does not look like a typical SAP user interface 5 years ago. So may just serve as an example, or as 2 examples, on how different an SAP UI can look today. And as said, we cannot change it all overnight, and also we have to see that our customers have a certain speed of adopting innovation. But when we come up, of course, with a new application in a certain area, then we want to go for the latest and greatest here as well. In the area of Fiori, we did some investigation on the most used transactions in the ERP, and then came up to the respective set of Fioris. On the EAM side, we went with some first steps on the maintenance worker and planner, but honestly this has to be complemented, and our focus really was on the NetWeaver WebDyn Pro, because that was first thing to complete, and then going for further Fioris here. So when you have a look on some examples that were launched here, I mean, this can be a look and feel in terms of Fiori, and the idea could be that in the future we have, let's say, an entry point by a Fiori, where you can have an overview, let's say maybe the most important notification in terms of their priority, the availability of the workforce and so on. And then if you really want to work in a more complex manner on the respective items, then you may go to a WebDynpro application that we just have complemented, and that of course can be highly personalized these days as well, and so even be brought down to a very simple look and feel as well, whatever is needed for the respective role. As you know, on the WebDynpro side, we embedded also the 3D Visual Enterprise into the maintenance worker user interface for two specific purposes. The one was for picking or for selecting spare parts, which is the screen here, but also for directly embedding the 3D visual work instructions into the work order so that people can have a look. This is what I have to do, and here is how it looks like. What Stefan presented in the morning already is the enhanced list interfaces here based on new technology, where you can comprehensively search, where you can do mask changes and all that stuff. And then, of course, also, which we introduced already some time ago, the side panels, so that you have additional information in the same user interface. And this idea about not leaving the respective user interface is also true for what we delivered in terms of the so-called click views. So that, let's say, this is about changing a maintenance order here in the NetWeaver business client. And there might be reference to a technical object, which is a pump in this case, and if you hover with your mouse on over this specific word here, additional information will pop up right away. So we wanted to go for a user interface where you don't have to go for another transaction. Keep in mind what the object was we wanted to have information for, then maybe in worst case type it in again and so on. We really want to consolidate information, so really bring it into one picture. Still, that is of course easy to digest and easy to handle. When we talk about transactions that we don't touch in that regard, or explicitly when we talk about customers who don't want to innovate at that speed, then still of course, and by the way now for free, we have SAP Screen Personas, so that things by means of this tool can easily be refurbished as well. So that, let's say, from a very complex transaction screen without modifications, because the UI is decoupled from the business logic, you can come from a 35-click maybe to a 10-click flow in the system, and you can really make it very attractive also in areas where SAP is not innovating the user interface. But as said, I think in terms of the WebDynpro, in the meantime, we are pretty complete. So that you should really have a look into this. Strategy here is really that by means of a launchpad as one entry point, the idea really is that this is always done the entry point into the system, but of course from there you will then go into respective other transactions so that you can operate the things in more detail. User experience has a lot to do with mobile as well. And in the mobile space, we have innovated quite a lot also in terms of the number of releases. Currently, we have out there, based on the SAP mobile platform, with strong offline capabilities, the Work Manager, the Inventory Manager, and the Rounds Manager. The Work Manager basically for working on notifications and orders. In the meantime, also included for linear assets, integrated with geographical information systems. And also, again, like on the desktop side, the 3D visuals included or linked to the respective work orders on the mobile device as well. If you want to have a more detailed look on the UI of the mobile applications, both the Work Manager and also the 3D Visual Enterprise Viewer are available for download and for free on the App Store or the Google Play. So that you, of course, it's then not integrated with the backend or with your specific backend, but you can have a look on the look and feel of the applications and think about whether this would suit your needs as well. We have already in the pipe the Work Manager 6.2 planned release this quarter, where we do some more about master data integration, because we see a need that obviously things also can be changed, or at least recommended to be changed in the field. And we do further GIS enhancement as well, explicitly for offline support of maps. And 6.3 is already projected for the first half of 2015, so for Q2. And again, when we're talking about additional data that comes in from the asset and allow for some prediction of failure, then of course we want to bring that information also on the mobile device. And also we want to integrate more EHS information also into the Work Manager, so that you have a coherent yet comprehensive view on what is going on with an asset. So I will, when these slides are being distributed, there will be a couple more slides also going into Inventory Manager and Rounds Manager and so on, but in the interest of time I will skip them here. What we've also just launched is a kind of companion app to the Work Manager, and that deals with augmented reality. So that wearing glasses, you can then go for scanning a 2D barcode, and then the respective model will pop up inside your glasses, and you can operate this hands-free, and you can have a look on how the repair should be executed. And you can also reach out to a remote expert, maybe that is sitting in the office or wherever in the shop, so that there is a possibility to communicate about this work order and how the work has to be carried on. And that is also the overall direction in terms of the mobility. First of all, getting, of course, visuals in place wherever possible. So either in the sense on where the assets are, but also in the sense of having some 3D visualization, even in a live view. And then presenting this not only on a mobile device in terms of a smart device like a tablet or something, but also using wearables and augmented reality, because we know that explicitly in asset management there are a lot of areas where operating a device that you have to carry in your hands, of course, is difficult. And as said, adding more and more information about what actually is going on with the asset, so that we want to include information that comes in from predictive maintenance on the mobile device as well. So this was a lot about innovation, but of course we are still dealing a lot explicitly with the user groups on continuous improvement. So in terms of the customer connection program, the Cycle 2 is available, has been launched, and currently we are working on the Cycle 3 with the user groups, so that we carry on with that idea to deliver continuous improvements, also based on simple SAP nodes, so that they can more easily be integrated into the system. And this is just a short collection with links so that you can access the respective enhancements as well. In terms of maintenance operations, a lot of smaller improvements. I just wanted to focus on one application, and you will get more information also with the slides being distributed, and that is the multi-resource scheduling, the MRS application, that is very well integrated with the maintenance execution, both on desktop and on the mobile device. And not so many of you may know that we started already in 2004 with that, and we are now at the MRS 9 release, and there is an additional release planned for 2015 with further enhanced functionality. So this is a well-integrated tool for doing the planning and scheduling on the preventative maintenance side. So let's come to some really new and exciting topics. So when we talk about asset data governance, I mean, all these nice analytics and colorful graphics that you can launch are all maybe not so helpful in case the underlying master data is not accurate. And we've launched already, I think it was year before last year, a rapid deployment solution on asset data quality, where you can assess the quality of data in the system in terms of consistency and whether fields are being populated coherently and so on and so forth. But of course, it was quite clear that there was also a need to have a governance in place for the changes of data. And so when we have a look on the full picture here, I mean, first it starts with the asset information creation, and data may come from legacy systems or engineering data warehouses. And there we have on the one side the data services for cleansing the data, for doing profiling, for deduplication of data. But we also have the 3D Visual Enterprise set of applications where data from 3D CAD can be converted into the Visual Enterprise formats and then be used, for example, in order to enrich the data so that respective repair instructions can be directly embedded into the maintenance orders. So when it then comes to the question, some data might already be there, but there is a need to, obviously, to govern any changes around master data. A couple of years ago, we started in the area of financials with a tool that is called Master Data Governance. And the gap that existed was that this was not covering asset master data. And that is something we are changing right now, and I'm very happy that we now went for a solution extension that is built by our partner Utopia, but will be on our price list, where exactly those things are being addressed. So what we currently have as capabilities already for 2014 is as master data objects the equipment, the functional locations, and the MRO bill of materials, and there are further objects planned for 2015. So that's on the governance process for the changes and transferring the data into the ERP on the PM side. MDG is the tool of choice, but of course on top of that there might also be business changes that accompany any changes on the EAM side. So for example, if you change a maintenance interval, there might be additional risk assessment needed, some training for the users and so on. And so all this, these accompanying processes can be managed by SAP MOC, the Management of Change application. So now, of course, the question is, I mean, here the gray boxes on the left-hand side, data comes from somewhere. But is this real collaboration? I don't know. So the question was, how can we enable in an ecosystem which consists out of OEMs, EPCs, service providers, maybe dealers, owners and operators, how can we allow for a collaboration so that there is one version of the truth in terms of the data and the asset information? And we are currently working with quite some customers and conducting design thinking sessions, heading for a development project. And the working title currently is Asset Information Network. And so the idea is that the OEMs and EPCs and service providers on the one side, and then the operators and maybe other service providers on the other side, are being linked through a cloud-based application, and information can be published and can be subscribed to, so that everybody is explicitly singing from the same sheet of music. So that, let's say, an OEM can then just publish information either publicly or also on a subscription basis with all the authorization and data protection and privacy mechanisms. And this can be just, let's say, operating instructions or a maintenance manual, but can also be a recommended maintenance strategy, safety controls, and so on. And the operators can subscribe to that information, but in return, they can also allow for some information that can be subscribed to by the service provider and by the OEM. So that, let's say, failure data or usage information, but also measurement documents can then be brought back to the respective service providers or OEMs. So that by means of this cloud-based application, we really make this ecosystem that is taking care that the asset is up and running, bringing that into a workable state. Still, of course, even in that context, what has to be decided is what is the right maintenance strategy. And so we have a long-standing partnership with Meridium, and we have enhanced this end of last year in terms of enhancing the endorsed business solution that we have with Meridium. So a solution that is qualified by the SAP product standards. And the idea is here that we have an integration with SAP and Meridium more working on the development of the asset strategy and some analysis and assessment of the state of affairs, and then SAP making the maintenance execution happen, the planning and scheduling, keeping all the work history and all the master data. So covered by this endorsed business solution are some modules basically out of the asset strategy module from or workstream from Meridium's APM. So talking about asset criticality analysis, reliability-centered maintenance, and FMEA, and then the tools for getting up, for coming up with the right maintenance strategy and implementing that into the SAP system as well. We are currently discussing with Meridium quite some more and exciting possibilities to further integrate the two applications, or even make the APM functionality directly sit on the same data stack like the EAM. So that maybe in a first step, it's just about including some more Meridium information into the SAP user interface, for example, in side panel, but also maybe leveraging some Meridium algorithms. And predominantly, the overall idea is that in a future state, Meridium could also be deployed directly on the HANA Cloud platform, so working as an additional application to what is being delivered by SAP. And in that regard, to demonstrate what we currently deploy in terms of additional applications here, I would like to come to my final topic, and that is predictive maintenance and service. We started with that already last year and thought about what are the use cases here where you can get data from the asset, can be telemetry data like sensor management, but also can be business data like mean time to repair, whatever kind of cost and risk information, but can also be third-party data, up to the weather forecast maybe, and how to analyze this and then make it available, let's say, for an OEM to do design improvements based on the actual behavior of the assets in the field. Do machine health monitoring that might apply to the service provider or to the operator. Get early warnings in place to prevent unplanned downtime, but also prioritizing maintenance and service activities not only in the light of the behavior of one asset, but in the light of the business. And by this then also being able to optimize warranty and spare parts management and to do benchmarking between different parts of the company. We started basically on the OEM side because in most cases you have a fleet of assets that are out there with their respective customers. So for example, in farm equipment, in automotive, in other areas, and work with those customers on a more custom development basis in order to use HANA to analyze the data that they have and to optimize the business. May it be optimize the design, optimize the spare parts stocks, optimize their service offerings, and so on and so forth. And we've now come up with the first applications in a context like this, so that data that can be consumed from the assets, from telemetry, from SCADA systems, also bringing in information from data historians, and putting them into HANA, and then apply respective virtual data models and predictive algorithms out of different libraries. Can be our own one, the predictive analytics library, can be an open source library like R, and then have applications sitting on top of that. So those generic tools for finding out about data correlation can already be used today in a very comprehensive mode to find out about how things are interrelated. And what we are doing now is that we are bringing up more and more out-of-the-box functionalities like machine health prediction, like early identification of emerging issues, or like prioritization of maintenance and service activities. And we've just launched a completely new application here, which is a cloud-based application for predictive maintenance and service. So the idea is that the data from the assets can be brought into the HANA database here, so kind of remote sensing, can then be analyzed and monitored and correlated with business information so that future malfunctions can be predicted, and then the optimal maintenance and service operations can be activated. And this obviously also allows for new business models in the context of having a service provider, having the OEM be part of the game in the context of operating an asset at the owner's side. So this said, and nearly eaten up my time. So this was just a, let's say, brief overview on what our current thinking is and how our development is being influenced. And of course, I hope that I see a lot of you in March. I discovered some well-known names also on the participants panel, and looking forward to meeting all of you or some of you at Huntington Beach. In case you have questions in between, of course, you can either contact me via the respective information on this last slide, but obviously I would like to open it up for questions right now, and either I can answer it directly or we take it offline and we will publish the answers later on as well. Many thanks.
Thank you so much for that presentation, Achim. First question from the Q&A window is SAP PLM required for master data governance solution?
Oh, PLM. Yeah. So the basically you can use the data services and information stewards and you deal with asset master data in any context, right? So these are generic tools that you can use here. When it talks about the governance piece, so the master data governance, this is a tool designed to work on one or multiple ERP systems to govern the respective master data kind of inside the respective systems. So the answer, as sometimes with SAP, is it depends on what the specific use case is. But happy to engage on a more detailed view on this question.